All right, welcome Stunthangar fans. This is Rusty, and we'll be here to talk about aeromodeling until midnight or more. And welcome to the show. And looks like we got a couple of people out there on the tube getting ready to watch us. Oops, got to mute this. Sorry about that. Had to mute my mic so the YouTube doesn't feed back through it. You guys that come into the video, be sure and remember to do that too, so we don't get feedback like I just did. And anyway, so the links are in the usual places on the Stunthangar control line forums in the At the Bench thread. If you are logged in as a member to Stunthangar, then you can go there, click the links to come in here into the live video. Otherwise, you can open the Stunthangar channel YouTube page and watch us there. There's a live stream with the chat box that you can type in, and we will read your texts and incorporate it where relevant into the conversation. So welcome. Looks like, yeah, we got a few people coming into the tube side. So hopefully I'll get some video guests in here soon. Get everything arranged here. Looking good. Okay. So today is Monday. It is July the 8th, and I hope everybody had a great weekend. Got some rest and relaxation going in. Everybody was so tired Friday night, we all kind of dropped out early. Still had a good show, but just couldn't go anymore. Heads were starting to nod. So hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. I know Bob Bishop's usually one of our first guys in here, and he sent me an email today and told me that he's been really busy and was afraid he probably wasn't going to make it onto the show tonight. So Bob, if you're out there, hello and good luck. Don't work too hard. Don't wear yourself out. And we'll miss you. And there's Jackson Avley, one of my usual YouTubers is here. Fellow Flyers. Hello, fellow Flyers from around the world, from Kansas, USA. Yes, sir. Our Kansas connection. We got several Kansas connections out there, I think. Let's see. Jared Hayes is out there. He's one of our regulars. And I think we got a couple more that come in live with us. But anyway, I'll sit here and talk as long as I can until we get somebody live in on camera with us. And see, I don't have a whole lot. I was not able to get out to the shop this weekend, so I don't have any shop reports to give you. But see, I just read a sort of funny story. It turned up in the YouTube comments on one of my favorite car forums, and I watched Nick's Garage. He's a guy up in Montreal that's got a car repair company, and he mostly works on Mopar performance cars, and he works on some daily drivers too, but his specialty is Mopar. And one of the fans that watches the show was talking about a Ford Falcon that he had gotten in his shop, and fellow had inherited it from his dad, and it had just been an old shell of a car that was sitting on the property, but he wanted it fixed up, so they were going to find a new motor for it and put all the, the radiator, the back in it, all the junk was in the trunk, nuts, bolts, radiator, alternator, all that stuff. So they found the right engine. They found a 30, I think he said a 305 or a 302. Could be either one, I forget. But they put it all together and got a nice little car and took it out for a test drive. Everything ran fine. And soon it started smoking out the back so thick that you couldn't see the cars behind you, and the cars behind you couldn't see you. Actually, it was smoking out of one pipe. It had twin pipes. And so the engine sounded like it was running okay. So they brought it back to the shop and looked around, did compression tests, everything tested fine. Nothing seemed to be wrong with it. So they called the previous owner and asked him if he knew what happened to the engine that was in it before And it turned out that engine had thrown a rod, and it had obviously pumped oil into the muffler. They bored a hole in the lowest point of the muffler and drained a liter of engine oil out. And the engine had filled the muffler up with oil. That's what was smoking. And yeah, it's a almost a head slapper, but it's something I had never thought of. I guess that could happen. You get a whole muffler full of oil when you throw a rod and keep running. I guess if the engine will keep turning when you've got a thrown rod, which is hard to believe in most circumstances, it could pump all that oil right out into the muffler through the exhaust. So that's my funny story for my introduction. Um, for all you guys on YouTube, I appreciate the donations y'all give us, and the super chat sign is that gray block dollar sign at the bottom of the chat box. If you care to donate, that's where Sparky gets his server fees, and helps him buy video equipment so we can broadcast from all the events he goes to. Huntersville, Triple Tree, Joe Null, both of those are the same, and the Nats and everywhere. So that also helps my hobby budget a little bit. So if y'all want to drop a buck or two on us, that would be great. We really appreciate the ones that do that. And that's about all I got for intro material. So if anybody's out there watching me that wants to come in live, come on in. You're welcome to join me and talk about aeromodeling or whatever it is you like to do in your shop. If you're a machinist or whatever your specialty is, an airbrush artist, whatever you got, we want to hear about it. And if you got something for show and tell, that's always great too. In fact, that's my favorite part of the show. And most of these guys that come in here broadcast from their workshops too. And so it's all kinds of planes hanging on the walls and ceilings behind them. And I always like to see that. And like I always say, I wish I could broadcast from my shop, but I don't have enough computer equipment out there, and it's too far from the Wi-Fi anyway. About 150 feet. It's too hard to get a good connection at that distance. So who's got something for me? One of you guys must be watching out there that can come in. What you tell me what you've been doing, Jack? You're over there on the YouTube watching me. Have you gotten any stick time this weekend or recently out yonder in Kansas, the flatlands? That's the heartland. I used to worry about dead air, but not so much now. I guess I could always go back and edit it out for the rerun watchers, and I think 90% of our people are rerun watchers. Jack says no flying. It's so hot. Or wait a minute, it jumped on me. It's either too hot or too rainy. Oh, hey, Gerald Wimmer. And we got a super chat donation. Thank you, Gerald. I appreciate that. Hope you can get in here and join us. I'm running a little flat this Monday night, but I'll perk up as soon as somebody can come in here and stimulate my sense of humor and cesspool of knowledge. I was talking about Nick's Garage is the name of the Mopar guy I was watching. He's up in Montreal, and that's one of my favorite YouTubers. Some of these guys make a hell of a lot of money on YouTube. I don't know if Nick does, but some of the 1320 video guys that are all about hot rod cars make just tons of money on YouTube. Well, I don't know about tons, just a lot of money. It takes a lot of money to make a ton of money anymore. But there's one guy I watch. Oh, here comes Gerald, I believe. Let me let Mr. Wimmer in. And there you go, Gerald. Good evening, Mr. Wimmer.
Oh, Rusty, how are you keeping?
I'm okay. I was falling a little flat there tonight, just kind of low on monologue topics for a Monday night. So I'm glad you dropped in on me.
Oh, well, yeah, my computer was slow, otherwise I would have gone a bit quicker, but I had to wait for it to do its thing.
That's okay. I used to spend more time thinking up stuff to talk about before the show starts, but usually one way or another, I open my mouth and manage to just keep on talking, but it didn't happen as usual tonight.
Oh, it's always interesting hearing about the story about the whole block and the oil getting into the muffler.
Yeah, that's weird. It's strange that an engine would run long enough to pump that much oil into the muffler, but it could happen as long as it doesn't swing around and hit something. If it breaks near the inside of the piston, then then it might.
Yeah, sometimes you get a piston knocked up in the top and it just stays put, and then the engine will carry on running. I even heard of a case where the crank broke and the thing was still running. From Performance Parts, they imported Americans from USA, and they would test them, and they found one that was turning, but it wasn't running properly, and they actually managed to get the thing up and running, probably just running on. It was not running right, but they knew that there was something really wrong with it, and they pulled it down and found the crank was broken, but it was still probably running on 4 cylinders or 6 cylinders, so that it had lost a couple of cylinders, but it was still.
We had somebody, I think it was one of our video guests, maybe it was Charles, but I can't remember for sure, had a model engine that broke the crankshaft, but it fractured so that it was completely broken through, but it was still fit together and was able to keep turning. And that amazed me that was even possible, because it must have been a ball bearing engine, because that's the only thing that would retain it and hold it together like that. Otherwise, a bushed engine would likely just, move the crankshaft forward and it would separate. But this one kept running. I don't remember who. I wish I could remember who that was.
You get some very strange stories of mechanical doings when you talk to different mechanics that have been in the business a long time. They've always got the pieces of shrapnel to show you of something that blew up. It's always exciting. The same modelers, they've got those motors that not just from crash damage, but some internal decomposition where something's come apart, and there's always something unusual.
That story I told was actually from a mechanic in New Zealand.
Oh, interesting.
Coincidentally, so.
Yeah, we've got a lot of American cars here, so it wouldn't surprise me. We've got some really staunch American car enthusiasts here, and the different clubs, and there's they have their American car days where they drag out all their different American cars from last century mainly, and bring them out for a show, and there's always a big crowd that turn up.
I know Australia manufactures cars that are actually designed by Chevrolet, and they have their own names, and I can't remember them now, or Chevy or Ford, and they rebadge them with different names. And I think there are some minor changes in the cosmetics and all, but they build them there under their own name.
It's largely historic now. Most of the production in Australia is closed down, but they did, especially ones like the Ford Falcon and Fairmont, they rebadged them slightly for local conditions. But General Motors made their own line of cars called a Holden, and they often use running gear.
That's the ones I've heard of.
Yeah, like me and my wife have both. Well, we've got 3 Holden Commodore station wagons. They've all got a Buick V6, so it's a straight pull out of the Buicks, and it's set up as a rear-wheel drive car with a turbo 700 auto. Another straight swap over from American componentry, but they've got their own differential that was made to suit by Borg Walkner, I think, designed the differential. So they've got their own diff, but the same. And a lot of the electrics are again there. In today's world of corporatizing everything, they were using electrics from all over the place. You'd get a lot of similarity between Ford and General Motors products where they're using similar componentry. But yeah, all the production in Australia is largely closed down. Same happened here back in the 80s, where we just kitted cars together. We got the knockdown kits and put them together.
Yeah.
But that's all largely come to an end now. I was going to say hi to Pat. He's there in the background.
Yeah.
There.
Hey, Pat. He's got his microphone muted. I think he must be making noise right now.
Yeah.
We see you waving at us, Pat. How you doing tonight?
Tried to unmute it, but you had to do the bouncer thing. It's working.
Great.
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're okay. Kind of a slow Monday night, just getting cranked up. Me and you and Gerald so far, and Jackson Avley over on the YouTube side. Looks like we got 8 watchers on YouTube right now. So the crowd's slowly growing.
There.
My boys are on school holiday right now, so they're back in the kitchen. They're playing chess, but earlier in the morning they were both working on their Phantom races, the little POW 1.5s. So they made some good progress, but I made a big mess of the kitchen, so I got them to clean up before lunch, and I said you can watch some movies or do some other games, whatever. So they're doing chess when I came in. So if I've got to dart out, it's because they're trying to burn the house down, or something's gone wrong, or they're in a big scrap. So,
and
cool.
In the U.S., we in the winter, of course, Christmas comes right in the middle of the school year, and so we usually take. I think the elementary and high schools and all get the week before and the week after Christmas off. And how's the school year broken up where y'all are?
We used to have 3 terms. Now it's 4 terms, and they get 2 weeks off between terms, except over the Christmas break, where they have a more sizable break of about a month. Are you working on a Porsche there, Pat?
It's different. 928.
Oh yeah, let me click on that.
Oh. The other one. I don't know why it's got so many headlights. They got all these here. It's good enough, but they had these ugly ones that pop up. Must have been able to see the road real good with this car tonight.
I guess so.
If you're going as fast as they could, you need plenty good lighting.
It's probably because of the Autobahn, you know. They're doing 180. They need, need a lot of good headlights.
You do, yeah.
Reaction time.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven on the Autobahn?
No.
Have you ever been there? Neither have I.
Far south as I've been is Myrtle Beach. No, that's that.
You should have gone about 20 miles farther on south and get to some real beaches with salt marshes and sand dunes and stuff like that. Here comes Kim. Let me let Kim in.
Okay.
There we go. All right, Kim, you're in.
Hey, guys.
Okay.
Howdy. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, it was very interesting listening to Kim talk last week about the single channel gear. I had to watch it as part of the reruns, but no, it was very interesting. It reminded me of single channel models I flew many years ago, little old-timer models converted to single channel. And it was a lot of fun just doing loops with your single channel, planning out your special maneuvers. But,
yeah.
How does that compare to the one that you guys mentioned a few weeks back? It's always doing this. It's wiggling like, and then if you go right, it goes this way, and then
that's the galloping ghost, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah, a pulse system. Yeah, yeah.
Same. That's totally different what you had, isn't it?
I'm sorry, me.
What you had was totally different. It's not the galloping ghost, right? It's
a regular proportional servo in place of the pulse unit. but
That was,
I'm in the process of getting a pulse unit, another Skyhawk. Testers made them in the late 60s, and I'm about to get one, and it'll have that pulsing rudder action.
I see Sparky's out there on YouTube right now. He likes my cool shirt. I got the
There you go.
2019 Stunthangar shirt on.
4th of July colors.
And he mentions I-15 outside of Vegas for the closest thing we've got to an Autobahn. Anybody drive on that?
The fastest it gets in New Zealand, other than going to one of the racetracks, is 110 kilometres, which is about 55 k's on our piece of motorway. But most of the place around where I live, the highway is limited to 50 mile an hour. It's pretty slow movement around here. But it'd be lovely.
I took it from Vegas to Mesquite. They had the jets flying next to the highway. I guess the drag strip's right next to the highway there too. All the F-18s were flying right next to you on I-15 headed north. Military base there really is a military base on the west side of the freeway. It's about the size of, New Jersey or Rhode Island. It's just a huge.
Yeah.
Talking about vintage radio models, dragging out ones like this one was a Trenton Terror.
Oh, cool.
That one was converted to 2-channel, but it was originally a free flight model. Had the timer on the side of it here, but it's got a little door and the servos added to it on the side. And
Oh, great.
It used a pull-pulse system for the servos.
Yes, yeah.
And I
It's
converted the pull-pulse system is very easy to set up, easy to convert a free flight model. But I did that to a number of ones. I converted them to pull-pulse and free. That one had an electric motor on it, but I was going to set it up again, put a OS15 on it. I just wanted a motor on it, so I put an old OS15 on it instead of the electric motor. Get a little slimy.
Have you got a kick-up elevator work by the rudder, run through the rudder?
Oh no, this one I cheated. I've just used 2 servos.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I did have a little simplex set up with a single channel, and then I've got a bigger full-size simplex here. That one's still electric. That's just the fuselage of it. And that one used an old Astroflight motor from the 80s. Very old. But it was, you got me inspired, and I started digging out some gear, and that one's got a gear-driven Astroflight 05 FAI with a belt drive. But yeah,
That's great.
It was a lot of fun flying it. And again, it's got the same sort of pull system, just doing rudder elevator, and then obviously I had my control.
What's the gear ratio like on that? What is it does it slow the prop down?
Yeah. The motor was like a high-performance electric motor that would normally run like on a 7.6 or 6.4 or something. It was a very small prop, and that one's geared to run a 10.6 on about 3-1. But yeah, I did that many moons ago. I originally had the model I didn't build the model. It was one that I bought it second hand, and it had an OS 30 or 35. I think it was a 35, and then I converted it to electric. But that's a long time ago I did that. That's using the old brush gear from the 80s. But I flew a lot of radio past, and just come talking about it just got me keen to dig them out and have a look, and maybe.
That's great.
I've got too much stuff. I really need to get rid of some of it, but it's just fun, just trying different things. And there's one more here I can do. Yeah, I've got one more here. This one's a bit bigger. I'll have to stand up for this one. This one again is not one I built, but it's an interesting looking model. It was a David Boddington, and that one was set up with a homemade 60 on it. I passed the motor on to my brother, but it was a neat looking model in the sense it was very vintage. And it's all covered in silk, believe it or not. It's got a tear in the silk there, but all open built up structure.
Does that silk get really brittle with age?
It does, yeah. Unless it's got oil on it, softening it to a degree. Yeah, silk does make for a temporary life. Yeah, that one's quite a heavy, substantial model. But I had a number of other vintage models. Some of them I've since moved on. I had a little one, a little miniature simplex like the other one I showed, but it had a DC dart on it, half a CC. It would be 0.3 or something. It was a very, very small motor, and that was a lot of fun. I remember getting a lot of fun out of that thing, just with a single channel. It just had a tiny little tab rudder, and you'd battle in the wind trying to keep it on the field, and you do a lot of running after it. But yeah, it was
I've been there. More like almost like a trim tab than an actual rudder, huh?
Yeah. But that made it part of the fun. Whether you managed to keep it upwind with little
Built-in fun. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Take your chase bike out there with you.
Yeah. Oh, one time I think I was flying that or another. I had another simplex that I built. I think I've got it stashed away somewhere, and it was a slightly bigger one. And I left that one. It landed on a motorway. It might have been and I think that was a powerhouse, not a simplex. And somebody saw it land on the side of the motorway. It just came in. The fuel ran out. It was actually a silly story. We forgot to turn on the receiver. I think my brother was flying it, and it landed on because it was perfectly trimmed like a free flight model should be. It just landed quite happily on the side of the motorway. Somebody picked it up and handed it into the police. But, yeah, you wouldn't get that happening with a normal radio model. Once you've lost control of it, you've lost control of it.
I was putting an address inside the airplane. Or is that
it had details on it, but yeah, a lot of those free flight models, you do always put your address. Some people have a little nice printed sticker to put on their free flight models.
Yeah.
Now here comes Trey. Hang on, let me let him in. There we go. There we go, Trey. Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Trey.
Oh, we're pretty good. It's kind of a relaxed Monday evening.
Cool. I was just on the Stunthangar reading about that the post on the European Championships and the judging over there.
Oh, that sounded terrible.
Control and championships.
Yes. Yeah.
Very
So I kind of open a can of worms too, like I usually do. Yeah, it's like they were talking about how judges get tired with so many contestants and they cannot they like one or the other, and they give a little bit more points to this guy than the other guy and so on, and some of them say like, hey, it's obvious, because even if you look at the videos and stuff like that, just it kind of opens the can of worms. And so I know there are some that are already doing video tracking, in-flight video tracking, where you can take a video of your flight and you can precisely see each maneuver, exact path that your plane took for each maneuver. So how hard would it be from there? And not only that, he also has the semi-sphere that's overlaid on top of the circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see exactly where the 45 degrees is, and it also has a built into it, whatever camera you are using, use like a square grid of like a checkerboard, right? So you take a picture of that with the camera, and it accounts for the distortion of the camera, of the lens of the camera, right? So it's very, very precise to show you, hey, this is the sphere on which you fly, this is the 45 degrees, and it breaks it down at 90 degrees and then a 45 degrees arches, right? So, and you can also spin it around, right? So how far are we from having an automated system that that knows exactly where your plane was? It can compare it to the ideal path and then give you percentage of accuracy, And with that, you can automatically calculate the scores for you.
Yeah, automatic judging. I mean, if we've got the
Yeah,
power and ability to do it now.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, how hard would it be to implement a system like that? I mean, just would be stupid easy. I mean, the software is going to be a little bit involved for the software to judge where the maneuver starts and ends. But uh, you know, I have a CNC machine that follows a path within thousandths of an inch, right? So a machine that never gets tired doesn't know
Yeah.
you're flying electric or pipe or regular gas motor. It doesn't know that you are Gerald or Traian or
Yeah.
Wendy Warnowski or
Or if you're
or
wearing,
Fitzgerald or Igor Berger. It doesn't give a shit about that, right?
or if you're wearing your white flying suit like they used to. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you're in your underwear flying, it doesn't care, right? The only thing that cares is like, where is the plane? How does it compare with the ideal path?
Mm.
And this is precisely, and you can train with it at home on your own. You can probably just, if you have a camera and a laptop or something like that, you can take it with you. And most of us have laptops and cameras and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Or at least you can get the camera with you at the field, and then you go home and download it, put in a system, and say, okay, this flight gets this score, this is what you did wrong, and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't matter, right? So nobody should have a reason to complain anymore as of, but you see people like, well, I will never support this shit. And you start wondering why. Well, the only people that will be against this one are the ones that benefit from the current system. Simple as that.
Sparky posted on excuse me. Sparky posted on YouTube. He's all for that.
Yep.
Here comes Jeff Riley. Let me
Yep.
let Jeff in. There we go.
Hey, Russ.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys.
Did you guys see that post that Alberto Solara put somewhere, with his newly developed system? That's this exactly what I'm talking about. That in-flight tracking, and I think they've used it at the Worlds as well. A lot of videos. They took a lot of video of a lot of flights over there, and they used the system to show the path of the planes for some of them.
No, I didn't. I hadn't had any time to read forums lately, though.
Mhm.
Hey, Train, I heard what you were talking about. I was in the shop cleaning my airbrush with something like a transponder. It'll follow
No, it's not even a transponder. It's a camera. It's like a camera that looks as a still picture, like a still background, and it
Okay.
sees something that's moving in a picture. And obviously, that's the plane, right? So
Yeah.
wherever that plane moves on the picture, it just traces a line wherever kind of like connects the dots, and it shows you the path of the plane. And the path deletes itself after so many seconds are cycled, right?
Yeah.
So when your plane does a wing over, and not only that, what he did to make it super accurate, he said there are different cameras with different lens to them, right? And all of them are distorting the picture a little bit, right? Okay, so all you have to do, you take your whatever camera you plan to use, you take the camera and make a special file where the camera is videoing this checkerboard, like a checker flag, but
Yeah.
something that's very precisely made, right? So you have a template. So that maps your camera lens, right? Based on the checkerboard. So it takes that file, puts the actual video file on top of it, right? It 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 converts the image to the point like it's nice and flat and like that, and it even puts a semi-sphere on top of it, right? With a
Okay.
45-degree circle, the level circle, and some of these 90 degrees and what's how many slices are one, two, three, four slices that cross the circle. So basically, I have every 45 degrees you have this geometry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the system is already in place. It's very accurate, you can see with the system. I mean, if you watch the flight without the system, and after that, when you look at the system, as you go like, holy smokes, I didn't see any of that. You know, it's staggering, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just staggering. And you look at somebody flying, goes, oh, this tight corners and stuff like that. And then when you look at the system over there, you say, what? You know, those baby corners, you know, no flats, nothing over there. What you talking about? Like this, I didn't see it, right? And then you realize how human we are, right?
Yeah.
But what about a system like that? It doesn't care, it doesn't get tired, it's consistent time after time. You know, it's just a matter of just continuing the software process and taking that path that's over there, overlaid in something else, and you can say precisely, you know, how accurate, how close are you to the ideal, and it
Well,
gives
I
you a
know.
score from 1 to 10, whatever, you know. So if you fly in FAI, you can probably have in a system push what kind of scoring system you want to use. You want to use AMA system or FAI system. So in AMA, it would probably the score from 1 to 10 multiplied by 3 plus 10. It gives you the score for each maneuver. That's 40 points, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because in AMA you get 10 points for attempting, so the rest of the 30 points are basically based on how well your maneuver is, right? So if you give you a score of 1 to 10, and if you get a 10, you get 30 points plus 10. And this is just a simple, you know, even an Excel file can do that. You know, if you get that output into an Excel file, you can just output a score right away, and it's
In a
really
way, in a
Sparky
way,
said something that makes me, I think it's probably a good idea to keep people from whining about the camera not being right is to have more than one camera and average their scores. I guess you'd have to stack them vertically right on top of each other so they'd all be looking up the same line of sight, give or take a couple of inches.
Okay, yeah, but keep in mind this is a calibrated system, because you have to have that particular file when it looks at the checkerboard to compensate for this distortion of the lens, right?
Mm.
You can have a different camera right on top of it, but that camera will have to be calibrated as well. And I bet you the scores are going to be so close to each other that it's just almost.
Yeah, you could, but that would prevent a lot of crying from people that still don't like the idea.
You know, the people that
And,
are not going to like the idea, the people that are benefiting from the current system. Those are the only ones that are not going to like the idea, and I don't care for that.
yeah. Hey, Leonard.
I mean, if you think you are that good and you can win in under any situation, you have no beef to complain about anything like this, right? If you
I
have
agree.
a beef with it, then you probably have something is not right. And you know what, I want to say right now and right here is that there are some very, very good judges, fair judges, and they do a wonderful job, and I appreciate everything they do. Okay. But on the other hand, when you go in a competition and you look at your scores and you look at the next person's scores of 15 points between you and him, and he goes like, you had a heck of a lot better flight than a 15 points difference between the two of us, you're gonna go like, hey, you know, I'm sorry, you know, something is wrong over there. So a system like this, you know, doesn't care who you are, what your name is, you know, it's like it just looks, compares, it's automatic. Nobody can complain about it. And Rusty, even if the system is not calibrated or something like that, it's gonna still be consistent, right?
Yeah, it would be.
It will still be consistent, right?
Right, yeah.
That's
It's the same in a lot of sport where you can see electronics have taken over, the cameras and gear has taken over to make the task of refereeing or just scorekeeping so much easier. And the judging and aerobatics is hard work. I've done a bit of judging, but it is hard. You've really got to keep on your toes, and it's hard not to fade as the day wears on. And and fatigue gets to you as well as the contestants. It's very hard to give consistent scores and be there accurately scoring each flight, not missing parts of a flight. It's human nature.
Yes.
We're not machines.
And I know
Especially when the conditions are bad.
and especially Gerald, I 100% agree with you because I've done it. You know, I'm guilty of it. For example, there was one contest, right? So I was trying to judge with the new style, right? I was kind of thinking about in terms like scale 1 to 10, a maneuver that's 10, it's a 10, right? A maneuver that's, a 4 or a 3 or something like that would be just barely recognizable maneuver, right? So I was doing some like that, and then on a second round, I changed my judging completely to what I was used to. And unfortunately, the guy that took first and the guy that took second, they should be the other way around, right? And I went to them after the contest. I explained them what happened. I apologized for it, and I was being fair about it, right? But usually in a contest, if you look at the contest and say, hey, that guy deserves first place, that guy deserves second place, that guy deserves third place, and so on and so forth. And if the scores are like that, it was a good judging, right? But sometimes you see that guy got first place, that guy got second place, that guy deserved third place, but no way this guy was that far away from these two guys, right? Then you start to ask questions again. And because sometimes you go like you do the best that you can, you burn a good flight, right? And when you have it, and you know it. There's no question about it. You know it. And then when you look at the scores and it goes like, what? If you know your overall score is probably a 9 out of 10 or a 8.5 out of 10, right? And you look at your overall scores is like a 6 out of 10 and go like, what's going on here? So I do agree with that. An automatic scoring system, no question about it. Nobody can question it.
Hey, Lynn and Jeff, what y'all up to tonight? Y'all do anything fun this weekend?
No, I've been in the shop all weekend cleaning up and doing test panels. They just got another new airbrush I've been trying out. I bought an inexpensive one off, it's Amazon. Paid $21 for it. Polished the needle, and it sprays every bit as good as my Iwata Pro.
Right. That's amazing. A good
My
copy?
Iwata Pro, huh?
Is it a good copy of a water, or is it just a well-designed airbrush?
A little bit of both. I mean, it was 1/10 the cost of my Iwata, and all it needed was to be polished a little bit. And it'll spray all the way down. I mean, if you're good with it, it'll spray all the way down to a pencil line. I'm not quite that good with it, but a friend of mine is. And it'll spray up to about a quarter-size circle. It's got a real small bucket on it, though. It only holds about a quarter ounce of paint.
That's cool.
You just can't do it all with one airbrush, though. You find detail.
It works good for shading and highlighting.
Do any of you have experience with water transfers?
You mean
A
like
little bit.
water slide decals?
Yes.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Is it pretty thick or relatively thin? And
Is
The
it-
ones I've used are always paper thin. I mean, there's almost nothing to them.
yeah, they're
Okay.
just tissue thin.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about just as a on the future on my planes to, since I can care less about how much water I get in the plane and stuff like that. It just it's irrelevant for me. I'm thinking about just doing some water decals and put them on a plane, then clear coat and just call it a day.
My main recommendation is to get the ones that are made for laser printers rather than inkjet printers, because it's been my experience that the inkjet ink fades really fast in the sun.
And if you clear over inkjet, it'll bleed everywhere.
Yeah. So
I don't have that problem. I
No?
clear right over it. I've tried clobbering it as hard as I could just to test it, and I hadn't had it. I've done it with dope, and I've done it with Brodak dope clear, and I've done it with luster coat also, and just trying to kill it, but I hadn't been able to mess it up.
Wow.
Wow.
I tried it. I tried it with my automotive clear, that urethane stuff, and it went everywhere.
Wow.
So the method to my madness is to, since I want like a white border around, I can get this white, the white decal paper that's already white, right?
Yeah.
And just print the lines, right?
Yeah.
Just print the lines, the edge, right? So then I can slide these guys in place, cut them on an X-Acto knife precisely to the outer shape, slide them on the top of the wing, let it cure, right? Let it dry up, and then use the pencil line, which are very faint, probably with the light gray color or something like that, and use that to mask, so you can just do a little bit of painting on top of the decal to get the color patches or something like that, and after that remove the tape and just clear off the whole thing, and then just done. That's kind of what I'm thinking, and I'm not sure how. I guess I could probably test it on something.
Sparky just wrote that he says thinks the white paper is too translucent.
Oh, white is too translucent.
That's
Okay.
what he seems to think. Yeah. Now I use white and clear, just depending on what my background color and what I'm kind of picture I'm using.
Yeah. I just came from the about 8:30 tonight. I came back home, and I just burned like 7 flights tonight back to back. I just yesterday I charged the batteries, and I said I'm gonna go out and fly. So I'm getting out in a car, and just like drip, 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 start to, clear sky everywhere except for the over the place where I go fly, right? And it starts to pour it down. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. so I had the batteries charged anyways, and I said, maybe I can catch a good chance for tomorrow. And tonight I just went out and use all of them. Probably an hour and 15 minutes, 7 flights or something like that. Just one flight every 10 minutes kind of thing. Just boom, 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 go.
What's going on, Mike? What you got happening?
Nothing. Scrambling around this week to get ready for the Nats.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah, last time we talked to you, you said you hadn't even gotten reorganized after coming back from Brodak.
Correct. Have not touched an airplane since Brodak's. We had a bunch of people over here for 4th of July. We had the fireworks thing going on, and then we had a house full of people all weekend. So I just got my house back in order today. Got the garage cleaned up. Got all the mess from the fireworks cleaned up. And we're going to hit it hard tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We got 4 days, but we haven't touched an airplane, literally nothing. So we'll start by organizing pit boxes, figuring out what we're going to take. Got to fix a few issues from Brodak's. We had a fuel tank leak on one of Sam's stunt planes. We're going to try to build at least one stunt bot for him before we go. I'm sorry, rugged stunt trainer. One of Phil Cartier's, just up. That should only take about a day to knock that out. And I got 6 new Russian speed limit planes. Just got to hang motors on those. Those are pretty easy. Usually they're trimmed right out of the box. You can just put motors on them and go fly them. But we got to get half-A combat stuff ready, speed limit combat, and then Sam's stunt stuff, because I'm not flying any stunt. So not too much, really. Since I'm not taking stunt planes, I don't have to worry about anything. I do want to go through both the jets. I'm taking both Pulse jets with me because we'll be flying those every night on the speed circle. But yeah, just scrambling. We'll be busy this week. It'll be a busy week. Lots to do.
That speed circle got a cage around it?
It does. They have 2 speed circles that have cages. Yes. So we'll be flying the the old standby, the Bolton T-34 that I've been flying for 4 or 5 years, and then I'll get to Maiden, the orange one that I built over the winter. That one still hasn't flown yet, so we'll get a maiden flight on that.
When are you going to leave for the Nats?
We're gonna try to get out of here early Saturday morning so that we can. I want to get up there in time just to check into the hotel, and then we'll head to the field. So we'll be out at the field like midday Saturday. So Sam can get some flights before intermediate on Sunday, and then he flies mouse racing, half A proto, and half A speed on Monday, and then we got 2 days off. Tuesday and Wednesday are off, so he'll be hammering out stunt flight on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're gonna be burning a couple gallons of fuel on those 2 days to get him dialed in for Junior Senior Open on Saturday.
Yeah,
we've got combat on Thursday and Friday.
that's cool. Yeah, I wanna leave Saturday early in the morning too, and maybe make it there Saturday afternoon because the master plan for me Saturday is to just go there and fly a little bit and try to fine tune and settle in on a handle setting, and I just noticed today that I want a little bit more elevator control, and the outsides are a little bit harder than the insides. So,
is your boy coming?
No, he's not coming.
He's not gonna come and fly beginner on Sunday.
No.
Okay. So you're coming
No.
Saturday to fly expert stunt later in the week. You're gonna be there the whole week.
Yes.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of flying.
Yeah, I want to get. I mean, I'm serious. I want to get lots of flying. So basically, Saturday, I might even take over one of the circles on the L pad, put my charger on one of the tables, and just bang flight after flight after flight after flight.
Yeah, what
Just
day start qualifying?
it's Wednesday, I think.
Wednesday. Okay. So yeah, Wednesday, Thursday, and then
Yes.
Friday if you make it that far, and then Saturday you're in the top 5.
Yeah, but I fly in advance, so I'm gonna be just.
Oh, you're flying advanced. I thought you were an expert, son.
At the Nats advance.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're okay. I got
It's the advanced and open at the Nats. Basically, all the export flyers. They're all export flyers over there. But you're probably gonna see the lower bracket export flyers in advanced and the higher bracket export flyers in open.
Yeah. Okay. Got
Yeah.
you. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that.
It's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough competition. But I think I have a chance to take it with me this year.
Well, I mean, if you're an expert flying it, an expert should win it. I mean, you know, if experts are going down a class, they should be in the top whatever. You know.
Do you remember when he came to Georgia last year
Yeah.
in an expert bracket, right? The guy who won expert in Georgia was the guy that won advance at the Nats.
Okay.
So
Well,
that's
yeah,
the level of flying
I'm not
at the
saying
Nats.
an advanced guy can't win it. I'm just saying that it'd be harder. It'd have to be a really highly experienced advanced guy, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm saying that's all.
yeah. It's just the nature of the beast,
They're mixing classes a little bit there, and that doesn't give me the warm fuzzies. That's all I'll say about that.
I understand that absolutely. Yeah.
I tend to agree with you, Mike.
Yeah. However, if you go at the Nats and you go in intermediate, the beginner stuff like that, it's just like a local
Well, yeah, I get
contest.
that.
It's just as normal.
I get that, but advanced guys don't have the option to go fly intermediate at the Nats so they can win. Why should expert guys have the option to go fly advanced at the Nats?
I agree.
I'm not trying to start a big pissing. I just, for one group of flyers to be able to drop a level at the national competition, I don't agree with that. That's my own personal opinion. That's
okay.
it.
I'm getting that. Yes. Anyways, it seems like a lot of people just stay there. Like I said, I'm not gonna move to open unless I win the advance. So it's
I
kind
think
of like
you win advanced at the Nets, you got to go to open next year. Don't you?
yes,
Yeah.
yep, yeah. So a lot of people just wait until they win it at the advance at the Nets, and then they move up. But at the local level, you never see them flying in advance.
Right. Right.
None of them are flying locally in advance. So maybe some of them, uh, overall, you're never going to see the people that fly advanced at the Nets flying advanced in local contests.
What do they generally fly at a local contest?
Expert.
Expert.
Okay.
And usually, even at a local level, you see the top shots, winning, and these guys that fly advanced to the Nets, lower ranking advanced, like midway through the pack or something like that. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, good luck. We'll be over there to see some of it, I hope.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Probably Ben will be able to come over and watch some of the qualifying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And depending on what time combat Thursday,
yeah,
I had to see some of that action.
My goal is that Saturday, what I want to do, I want to just get a good feel for the plane, get my throws adjusted properly, the plane to respond correctly both ways, and from that point on till the moment we start the competition, you just fly, 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 fly. And I might even go, when I go flying, I'm gonna just fly particular maneuvers that I know I'm not very strong on them, and just to practice those things. Like for example, just put a flight and just fly a horizontal 8, but just one after another. Just do that.
Well, that's
Or
my plan. I'm hoping to get like a whole summer's worth of flying in about 4 days while we're there.
Yeah.
Beefed up for Saturday. So.
For his stunt plane, what kind of planes do you plan to take
His
for
stunt
him?
bots, the same ones the ones he built last year for the Nats, because they're BOM legal built, so that's what we'll be taking. And then we'll also be trying to get the complete construction stunt trainer just to spare. So he put up a 5'10" at
5'11".
at Brodax in intermediate. So flew it exceptionally well, right in the middle of the pack, 8th or 9th out of about 20.
Yeah.
So, he put up a pretty solid flight. We're just hoping we pick right there where he left off and just kind of tweak it and get a little bit better, and his bottom's a little bit better. And I mean, he can fly the pattern. We need to clean it up a little bit, a little more crisp.
Yeah.
Work on his side to get some of those points that he's given away.
Yeah. And get him with a little bit wider stance on some of those overheads too.
Yeah.
Yep. Even for myself, I think I'm for sure I need some help in coaching when I'm over there, because right now when I do my maneuvers, I think I do them below the 45 degree. I think I might do them at about 40 or so, or somewhere over there. So I'm not exactly sure where they're at, but I could probably definitely get some help. Say, hey, make them a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller or a little bit whatever, watch this or watch that, and like details, like, because right now I'm more just kind of working on details. And
what are you more excited for, Sam? Stunt or combat? Yeah, there you go. That's my boy.
Combat, is that what he said?
Yeah, he's combat.
It's Sam, say stunt.
We'll get 2 full days speed limit and half a.
That's
That
cool.
exciting.
I absolutely enjoy the videos where you just you fly with your son together.
We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Doing it with
What it's about.
Combat's a hoot, man. Hell, you know what? you get a couple of flight streets or a couple of ringmasters and tie a ribbon on them and chase each other around. It's still a fun, even if you're not looping and going inverted. Just closing the distance and getting cut is fun, even when it's flat and level.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Darn
Hey,
right.
Speaking of fun, did anybody catch the Facebook post in control line flying? David Smith trying to fly 2 airplanes at once
No.
today. They did it at Huntersville, Rusty. I think Will shot the video.
Uh,
Sarah's husband, David Smith. Looked like a flight streak, Skyray maybe, or something similar to that. He got his arms really crossed one time, and somebody came out and took the hand, and then they got the airplane and they handed the handle back to him. And one was flying a little faster than the other. I think he was trying to go over one or underneath, and he kind of mid-aired. And one of them crashed, and then the other one crashed.
oh yeah.
It was a valiant effort. It was a valiant effort of trying to fly 2 planes at one time.
I wonder when they did that. Must have been on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was this last weekend. The video just, it was pretty cool. I tried it with 2 combat planes. I got like 4 laps, and I burned one in. So, but that's something I always wanted to do too. Try to fly 2 at once.
Mike, we got a terrible audio connection on you tonight.
It's very hard to hear.
Oh, bad audio.
Yes, breaking up. We can pick out what you're saying, but you have to listen real close.
All right. Well, I'll just sit back and listen here for a little bit. That's really all I have to report. Is just getting ready for the Nats. That's it.
Who else wants to entertain us with stories?
Well, we've been doing some flying lately anyway, Naomi and I.
Good.
Doing lots more stunts, lots of loops and lots of inverted and banging them in.
Good. She's getting pretty confident. What do you mean banging them in?
It goes up and down. It goes good for a while, and then we crash a bunch of them and
Yeah.
glue them back together and then go again. Sometimes we get good flights and sometimes we don't.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. The thing is, it's frustrating because it'll go good for 3 or 4 flights, and then all of a sudden it's just bang, 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 where it's not going, it's not happening. So we try to keep positive.
Get a little tired after a while too. It's hard to concentrate after so many flights.
That's true too. That's probably part of the problem. Too many flights too quick.
My two boys doing combat on Sunday, and they were just flying little half-A diesel combat models, and they really enjoy it. Max is a bit more reluctant until he gets in the swing of it, and then he really gets a big buzz out of it. He really enjoys the challenge. Combat model let out some agreement, learned some techniques.
Yeah.
After they finished flying, they said, "Oh, we've had enough. You know, we've burnt a whole lot of fuel. It's you and Mum's turn." So I got Alina out to pick up the handle, and we did some combat flying as well. But I didn't want to post that one to Facebook. It makes me look bad.
Mike, is there like there should be like several tactics in combat, aren't they?
So,
I can't hear right now.
Sam, do you have tactics in combat?
What's that?
I said, do you guys have tactics in combat?
Yeah, try not to get in a line tangle and try not to run up the other guy's ass.
But you know, it's like if they do this, I do this. If they do that, I do that. You know, kind of thing. It's like then you're already ready to know what you're gonna do, anticipate what you're gonna do before you even get there.
It's some of that, but mainly is whose lines are on top and whose lines are on bottom dictates which way you can turn. Okay. Who's in front, who's behind, and which way the lines are.
Are there rules like that?
So you don't turn yourself into a line tangle.
Okay. But are there rules or just sportsman conduct? more
Well, there's
smoothly.
rules. Yeah, of course there's rules, but it's unsportsmanlike to put someone in a line tangle intentionally.
And just keep twisting it. It's bad.
Yeah,
You want to untwist.
you want to stay out of it.
Mhm.
I mean, if you got two good guys going at it, you're really just chasing each other through loops and figure eights and stuff. And the way you get a cut is if you're farther behind, you turn a little bit tighter than the other guy when he makes a turn, and that'll close the distance so you can get your
Yeah.
cut.
Mhm.
But if you turn too tight, you might fly into him or overfly him.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's the tactic, is just learning to make your airplane go in a tighter circle than the other guys to close that distance.
And you don't want to cut too much of the streamer off either, because that gives you less of a target for future cuts.
Right. You want to aim for the end.
You want to nibble it. You don't want to take the whole streamer.
No. I think a lot of it, if you watch people doing combat, you learn a lot of the techniques, the little tricks people have, and it's quite interesting just watching a group of flyers go through a contest and see what tricks they've got up their sleeve, what they pull, and watching people's mistakes. Sometimes they're quite silly mistakes, and you just think, I don't want to repeat that mistake. But,
Yeah. There are guys that use tactics like flying a foot off the ground. That's a tactic. Some guys like to fly inverted, 3
A
feet
foot off the ground. Yeah.
And I'll let somebody do that for a few laps, but then I'll just say, look, I'm coming back straight at you, man. So you want to play chicken? Let's play chicken. If you stay inverted, I'm going to come at you straight on. So one of us is going to have to move.
Love it. Awesome.
Kim,
I
have you
have
ever
to-
done any competitive flying?
What's that?
Have you ever done any competitive flying?
Are you asking me?
Yeah,
Competitive flying. What do you mean?
competition flying.
Oh, he flies advance and stunt, right? And you fly competition, combat too.
I'm talking to Kim Stricker.
Oh, he's
Oh.
talking to
Oh.
me. I thought so. I thought he was talking to Kim. I was like, damn, Rusty, what's in your coffee cup tonight?
Not enough, I guess.
Yeah. We thought maybe Rusty dropped the noodle or something.
Not enough of something. Hey, I could drop the noodle any day now, so don't be surprised if it happens.
Speaking of which, I want to go check and see if I have something good.
Okay. Now, Kim, I was just wondering if you'd ever done any competitive model flying of any sort. I see your lips moving, but I don't see you talking.
I think we lost him.
Yeah. We don't have any sound on, Kim. Let me look.
Hey, Rusty, have you been able to do any flying since Triple Tree?
No, Mike, I am completely 100% crippled right now.
Yeah, okay.
I got one arm that I have to pick up and move to where I
No,
want
Barry.
it. It's almost as good as that.
Me?
Now I hear you, Kim. Now I don't. I heard you for a second there, Kim, but you went away.
Oh, hey. Oh, sorry about that.
Now I hear you. Now I don't. Oh, well, I don't know what's going on with Kim's microphone.
It's a bit funny tonight.
Not happy.
But anyway, to answer your question, Mike, no, I'm worthless right now. I can barely go out to the car.
No, just fun flies, things like limbo and things like that with radio control.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm still here. I thought I was working. Okay.
Yeah, well, I think you're out of sync somehow. I'm not sure what's going on, but
Damn.
Yeah, his audio's not lining.
yeah.
Video.
Yeah.
Something.
Oh, okay. I don't know what. I hate to hear that, Rusty. I was really hoping things were working. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're just out of sync.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. Testing. Can you hear me now?
uh, yeah, I can, but
Right,
your lips aren't moving when I
Yeah,
hear
I don't
you.
know what's going on. Give me my service here.
Why don't you
I'm just.
log
Yeah.
out,
Sorry about
log back
that.
in and see what happens?
Okay. See, I closed some tabs. I don't.
Okay, maybe that'll work.
I thought I had some vitamin A juice in the fridge somewhere. I'm fresh out of the vitamin A juice.
Does that stuff make your squares squarer?
Your loop rounder.
Yes, usually.
I heard
That's
if you
what
drink enough of it, you can do an amazing hourglass.
somebody asked Igor one time what his logarithmic controls did, and he said they make your loops rounder and your square squarer.
I don't have room for not one more bottle of vitamin A juice. I had 40 people over at my house on the 4th of July. They all bring a case of beer or 12-pack of beer and drink 6 and leave the rest. So I'm
Oh my
pretty
God.
well stocked for the rest of the summer. I bet I got 100. I bet I got 100 beers in there right now. There's bottles of vodka. There's bourbon. There's a couple jars of moonshine. About a
That'll
third
keep you
left.
going for a day or three.
There's more than that. More than that. Parties are always good for stocking the.
Oh yeah.
fridge, you know. Nobody wants to drive home with it, so they always.
No. How's it
How you
going there?
doing, Sam?
Sorry.
Lynn, talking to you.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
That's good. You all excited about going to the Nats?
Yep.
That's awesome. Good luck. I hope you do well.
Thanks.
Kick some butt.
He'll do his best.
That's good.
That's all
I guess
we-
I'll see you there, Sam. Huh?
Yeah, we'll see you there.
I wish I could be there.
Why don't you come? I mean, you're not that far away.
I don't think I can make it.
BS.
Can't really afford it.
That's something else.
Not in the budget for this year.
Yeah, a couple.
Okay, here's the cool trick. If you don't have the budget, you can also stay at the tent over there. They have showers and everything you need. Just
No way.
I
No
did
way.
it. I
Not in
did it.
100-degree heat. I think I'll take a pass.
Yeah, you're smart, Lynn.
I'm too old for that shit.
Yeah.
You'll see me sleeping all right permanently.
Hey, Len, even the Detroit guys, Colombo and the Breeze and Mike Evans, they stay in Ronnie's camper over there.
Oh man.
But even they come to my hotel room like every second day to get a real shower and
Good for them.
jump
That's
in
awesome.
the pool and just get away from Muncie for a minute.
Good plan. That's awesome. Yeah, you got to play sensible. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good time.
Yeah.
My
But,
first-
getting back to the cost, Joe Null, Prodax, and the Nats, we're
Oh, yeah.
going to spend quite a bit of money.
Oh, yeah.
Through contests,
Most definitely. And see, the exchange rate right now for us, it's just a killer. Like I just can't do it. It's a killer.
Well, when they get to 25 at Brodax, if they stop doing Brodax, then maybe you can start coming to the Nats instead.
Well, yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, we're gonna try to do Joe Knoll this coming year, as far as I know. So we probably won't be at Brodax or the Nats.
I got you.
But Naomi really wants to see the Joe Knoll thing, and so do I. So we're gonna have a go at that this coming year.
It's pretty incredible.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
We're excited.
If you like RC stuff too, there's certainly enough things there to keep you interested.
Yeah, like there's a lot of variety, is what it is, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Hey, T-Bone Tom just posted, says he's excited to see those going to the Nats. He says at the rate he's going, he'll be flying an ARF. That doesn't sound good.
Nothing
Why?
wrong
Oh,
with
he
that.
can in beginner and intermediate.
Yeah.
If you fly beginner and intermediate, and that's with an ARF, perfect.
Yeah. There's no BLM, so
Oh, awesome.
Is
Even
there
better.
BOM for advanced? Or
yeah.
you say
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I guess you could fly advanced. You just wouldn't get any appearance points. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So who wants to be an advanced flyer with no appearance points going up against a bunch of experts that got appearance points? I mean, that's got to put you like, 40 points down right there.
Right off the top. Yeah.
Right off the top.
you can just do it for the fun of it. When I went on my first nationals, I flew intermediate, and I crashed my plane before the first official flight, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes before the first flight took
Oh,
place.
that's rough.
And there was Warnowski, Ken Tyser, a bunch of other guys. I
Those
have
guys
like
can repair an airplane like
uh,
nobody else.
yeah, and we fixed the plane in a few minutes, right?
You
With
bet.
5 minute pucks and stuff like that. Do this, do that, put a patch here, but slap it together. We just slap it together, right? And I put a test flight on it. It was, okay. And actually, I won intermediate on my first nets with that
There you
plane.
go.
That's a
And that
good
was quite
story.
Awesome.
that was quite a story, yeah. And the prize for winning intermediate at the Nats is they pay your fee to your entry fee to fly advanced at the Nats.
Right.
So I had to talk to my boss at work because I was coming only over the weekend. And he said, "Nah, go ahead and stay and stuff like that." So I stayed out there. The guys fed me basically for the rest of the for the rest of the week because I wasn't ready for that stuff. They didn't have money cash on me and stuff like that. So they took care of me, and that was just quite an
That's
experience.
awesome.
And I actually ended up in a top 10 in advance that year, too. I I was flying pretty solid. So, anyways, story of my life. That was my first Nats, 1996.
You know how many times Tyser and Ertnowski and those guys rebuilt airplanes on the field during competition?
Oh
Unreal.
yeah,
That's
it
what
was.
they used to do constantly. They were good at it.
Yes, yeah, and a lot of people at the Nats, when they go in the Nats and smash their planes, they were the first ones to pitch in and jump in and help them fix. And many times those planes were just back in the air next day, and they stayed
I saw
together
many
and just flew
videos
just
of
fine.
those guys in the hotel rooms rebuilding
Mhm.
airplanes at the Nats. They
Yep.
they were doing it almost every day.
They were nuts. I mean, that group was nuts, right? They were
But they
just,
had a blast doing it.
oh man, they were just not only that, not only about the fixing part of it, they were just so full of life over there.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
was unbelievable.
pizza, beer, pool parties, throwing ice from the balcony on top
Oh
of
yeah,
the head of the other guys.
the water off the
They were
balcony,
just
just anything
prank,
for a laugh.
or they were pranking everybody. It was bananas over there. I was serious. Just,
But they
we had
really knew how to have a good time.
oh
You
my
know,
God,
I
yes.
don't know if it's like that now, but back then
No,
those
not
guys
anymore.
had a blast.
Sounds like a frat house.
Oh
my
yeah, it was.
God, it was crazy
And I
fun.
think Windy was behind a lot of it usually.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And
Isn't coming, man, for a shot at the Eagles Nest trophy.
I could see Mike and I doing something like that at the Nats.
Oh yeah.
what's the Eagles Nest trophy? I'm not familiar with
The
it.
Eagles Nest trophy is the beginner trophy. It's the beginner junior. The winner of the junior in beginner gets the trophy. The senior gets one too if there's a senior there. But it's like a 4 foot tall perpetual trophy, and then you engrave their name on it. As a matter of fact, we just boxed them up today. The Sam won beginner at the next year, so he got the Eagles Nest trophy. Then he went on and flew junior, senior open, won junior in Tampa. So we have that trophy as well. We boxed them, we cleaned them up, boxed them up, and are ready to turn them back. Now,
You're gonna have Sam fly intermediate.
yes, he'll fly intermediate, so he won't have a shot at the Eagles Nest trophy. That's a big trophy. That will go back to the beginner circle.
Mm-hmm.
Sam will just be in intermediate with the rest of the pack. I don't know if they do awards for juniors and seniors in intermediate.
Mm-hmm.
If they get black or certificate or something, but I think they'll just be in the mix with everybody.
Is it me, guys, or Mike is breaking up?
It's all broken up tonight. We got really crappy audio. People are out of sync.
Mm-hmm.
Really hard to hear. But get the gist of
But
it.
yeah, trying to answer your question, Sam will fly intermediate on Sunday, and then he'll fly in junior senior open.
I definitely
Okay.
want to see him flying.
You will. Yeah, we'll be out there all week, man.
You know what? Maybe I should just volunteer to judge there on Sunday. The intermediate.
I'm sure they need help if they don't already have judges lined up.
Yeah, there was another tradition. The intermediate winner from the previous year would on the following year he would have to judge intermediate at the nets.
Oh shit! Well, I won it last year.
So you get to judge this year as a tradition.
I didn't know that. Okay, because I did not go fly advanced last year because I was flying. I told them I was gonna give up, go fly more stuff. So, but
Uh-huh.
I'm judging things. But I mean, we'll be there. No, I can't judge because I'd have to judge my own kid. I can't do that.
Yeah, yeah, you can't do that.
I can't.
Yeah.
You have to hold it back.
That's a conflict of interest, man. Now, it'll probably be harder on him than anybody else. But
Probably you would.
yeah.
That's what Naomi does to me. When she judges me, she's harder on me than anybody in the field every time. As soon as I know Naomi's judging, I know, well, there's first place gone. Now
Well,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
have to
you
work
already
hard.
know somebody's weak spots and proclivities, so it's hard not to be because you see everything they do. Some of it you're expecting ahead of time.
But Leonard,
Yes.
in the same with the same token, she can help you be better. She
Oh,
can tell
most
you, you
definitely.
do this, you do
She
that,
can
and so
watch my flights and she knows, like she's watched enough stunt now and judged enough stunt that she can judge almost any contest. Like she wouldn't want to judge the Nats or a world champs or something like that. But the local contest or even at she judged at Brodax this year. She can judge. She's judged a lot.
I'll be right back.
Because we're always short on judges. So she's always there. So they're always saying, hey, can you judge? Well, you're gonna get better at it when you're doing it 3 times a summer every year.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. She knows the maneuvers down pat. She knows what they are and she knows exactly what they should look like.
Cool.
Just like we do. Just can't fly them.
Yeah.
She will soon enough. She will.
Oh yeah. It's funny because I can give her a handle and say fly the pattern and she can do a shadow pattern. She can do every maneuver in the pattern. But when she goes out and tries doing maneuvers with an airplane on the end of it, then she gets scared, then she gets all tensed up, and then it all goes to shit.
She'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just patience.
Yeah. Well, listen, we're gonna sign off. We got a bad connection anyway.
All right, Mike.
But
Take it easy, guys.
we'll see you at the Nats. We'll see you at the Nats.
See you there.
Hey, Mike.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night.
I was flying today, man. I burned some good maneuvers out there. Holy
Good for you.
smokes.
That's the way to do it. Practice
Oh.
hard.
Yeah. I was I noticed that in outside maneuvers it's a little bit faster response than the inside maneuvers.
The airplane's turning faster outside.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to bring your down line in one hole.
No, it's not a downline or upline. It's a flaps to it's an elevator to flaps push rod, or in my
Oh,
case,
that's
can be
the issue.
either of them.
All right.
You bring the flaps up or bring the flaps down a little bit, and it's gonna equalize the turn.
Okay.
Not a problem over there. So that's how you do it. It's not the
Not from the handle.
no, it's never the handle.
I
Never
don't
the
know,
handle.
but never. I
What?
wouldn't say it's never the handle, but yeah. Sometimes you have to adjust the handle if you haven't got the spacing quite right.
The spacing in the handle just deals with the sensitivity of the plane. If the plane turns too fast, then you close the spacing. If it turns too slow, then you open the spacing to suit your flying style.
Well, it's
It's
funny
not
because what
because
I will
someone
do,
else does it.
okay, well, sometimes what I do, if I find it's turning too fast outside, I will lessen the sensitivity on the downline.
There's no such thing. It's fake, Leonard. Okay,
How is
because
it fake? If I don't turn as hard down, it's not gonna turn as tight.
no, not
It won't
true.
be. It won't
Because
be.
it doesn't matter where your handle is. If you move the handle this much or that much, you
Right?
still have this delta. One line goes in, one line goes out. It doesn't matter if the handle is here or there. As long as you turn the same amount,
But
it
if I
doesn't matter.
change,
By
but if I,
changing the spacing, you change the way the plane responds. It's slower or faster. That's all it
that's
does.
what I'm saying. I'm changing the spacing.
Okay, because
I'm changing the spacing on the bottom line only so that
you cannot do that. If it's spacing, it's both of them. Okay? If I make the lines from here to here or from here to here on this much
okay, but I'm
movement, on
only
that much
moving one line, not both. I'm leaving the
same
up
thing.
line.
Same thing. It's just like making the spacing and move them up or down on this line. Still same angle, same deflection. It's what it does,
For
I
me,
tell
but
you,
that's
Leonard,
okay.
this is what happens when you do that. When you bias the lines up or down, what it does is like if you bias them up, when you hold your handle, it tends to pull your hand down naturally because the center of the pressure between the two lines moves up, right? So it tends to help you with your hand mechanically, right?
Right.
Makes sense? When you move them down, it helps you mechanically to give you some up. But for it doesn't matter where they are. For the same angle, movement on your handle, you get the same response on your plane that you
Well,
had
if I have
before.
it in the bottom, if I have it in the bottom hole and I give it down, I'm
Mhm.
pulling more down. If I have it further up on the handle, it's giving it less down when I give it down
It's just
because of the angle.
it's not
Because
mathematically
now I'm not
possible.
pulling it as far.
Yeah. What happens if your spacing is down here?
Right.
Let's say here. What does it do? Where the
If I
center
give it
pressure
down,
is right in
if I give
between them,
it
right?
down, look how far the bottom of the pen goes
Yeah,
back.
it tends the plane to go up. It's very easy to pull up, right? But it's a
Right.
lot harder to push down, right? If the
So it's
spacing
actually
is
easier to
here
push
on top, it's very easy to give it down, but it's a lot harder to pull them up, right? Makes sense? Because you have the pull of the plane. It's here or there or wherever it's in between your
Yeah,
two
but when I
lines.
do give it up, though, I'm giving it a lot more up quicker because it's responding faster.
Is not geometrically correct, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. If you want to change the way the plane behaves, you know, your handle spacing should be centered on your
Right.
on your hand, right? So
Right.
you don't
Okay,
have
yeah,
any of
I
this
do.
tendency to go up or down. So now it's nice and balanced. If you
Okay.
have a nice relaxed hand in your neutral position with the lines
Right.
in center, it should be
Right.
nice and relaxed and
Right.
accurate, right?
I like that. Go.
Now, if your plane wants to turn up too fast, right?
Yeah.
And slower on downwards, that means that what that means is that your flaps is a little bit down, or you need to push the flaps up a little bit, right? And the vice versa. That's all there's to it. So if you extend your push rod a little bit, it's going to raise up the flaps a little bit. Now you're going to equalize the turn. So if you have one of those control systems where you can just turn it up or just modify the push rod length, you can fine tune it to perfection. And now what happens? You have a nice balanced handle, nice and relaxed,
Okay, but
right?
what if I have a turn rate that isn't even, but an airplane that tracks nicely? If I go and
It's
lift
gonna
those,
still track. If
Huh?
if it tracks, it's gonna still continue to track. Okay.
No, because I just changed the flaps, and now the flaps are up more and the elevator's down more.
It's still gonna
It's
track.
not
My
gonna
plane
track.
still tracks. My plane tracks either way, right? And
Mine
and
doesn't.
and
Like,
what I did,
I
you know, it's
build an
like
okay. We just see it different, and it's okay.
try it. You know, all I say is
Yeah.
just try it. And if you have it built into your plane, now if you have those solid push rods that never move, and you have no
Because I find
adjustability in there,
if I move my flaps, or if I move my flaps up or down, my airplane will track straight still, but now it tracks with the nose pointed up more, or the nose pointed down more.
okay. Well, what I found out is when my plane was doing one or the other way, it was also flying nose up or nose down. Okay.
Okay.
So when I did that, actually the plane straightened up and the turn rate is also straightened up
So
at the
they
same
work
time.
together. Okay.
Yes.
I see
Yeah.
what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
It's
good.
just, yeah. Think about it. Like,
Yeah, I can understand that.
if you have the flaps down, elevator neutral, right?
Right.
You have to fly with the nose down,
Right.
right? To fly level, right?
Yeah.
And what happens is that you have a lot of inside maneuver and very little outside. If as your flaps comes neutral and your elevator is neutral, if it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
Then your plane is going to fly straight, equal turn, stuff like that. Sometimes because you have the elevator on the top, flaps on the bottom, on motor, God knows what and stuff like that, it naturally it's a little bit unbalanced in the system. So you have to give it just a tiny bit of flaps or tiny bit of your elevator, or whatever, to make it to do that. Another time, there's another reason for which you have unequal turn. And that reason is because your bell crank position and the push rod hole in the flaps is not, for equal turn on a bell crank, your flaps doesn't go up and down equally as well, right?
Gotcha.
Follow me?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So what happens, like, imagine this is your bell crank, right?
Yeah.
This is your push rod, right?
Yeah.
If your bell crank neutral position is over here, let's say, right?
Yeah.
On equal turn, is very little push and a lot of push on this side.
Yeah.
Right?
Then it's going to
Now
be
if it's on this other side, right? The same
Yeah.
thing opposite happens.
Most definitely.
It's more push in this direction, even though I move the same amount of degrees here, right?
Yeah.
Neutral 10 degrees, neutral 10 degrees, right? But
Yeah.
from here to here, the push rod is going to move much less than here. So it depends where this guy is, right?
Yeah.
So when you build your plane on a bench, right?
Yeah.
Really, it doesn't matter where the bell crank is neutral, is zeroed out, right? You don't even give
I
a shit
try
about
to
it.
zero it even anyway. I try to have it perfectly straight.
Okay,
So
but that doesn't
zero is
matter
zero.
absolutely. It doesn't matter shit, right? What you want to do, what you want to make sure that you have, is that if I move it 10 degrees this way and 10 degrees that way, you have equal throw on the flaps, down and up. This
Okay.
doesn't matter what it is. So you can have one of those straight flaps push rods with the holes in and stuff like that. By
Yeah.
biasing the control, the bell crank a little bit, you're gonna make the flaps for equal control here. You're gonna get equal control over there on the flaps as well. So, or you can get one with fancy flaps, horns, and whatever, But what happens? This is the normal neutral, right? So this is another reason. This is one reason, and another reason for which you don't have equal turn is because the you sometimes you have too much flaps or not. It's never at the handle. Handle has nothing to do with it. You just
No, I'm not
what you
saying
do it.
no, I'm not saying that the handle is the problem. I'm
Yeah.
just saying if I have an airplane which I can't change the controls without opening the whole airplane up, I'm going to
Oh,
use the handle to
yeah.
make the adjustment. That's all I'm saying. I
Yeah,
wasn't saying that
but
the handle was the problem.
yeah, and you almost never like those planes because they're always with a problem that's going to consistently stay there forever.
I mean, I've been known to open planes up, but
Mhm.
now I want to build take apart most of the time, so it's not an issue anymore. But before, when I used to build a sealed airplane, you get what you get, unless you want to start carving it up.
Yeah.
The big problem when you go from a profile model when you can get to the controls to a built-up model,
Most
if it's
definitely.
the full part, then it becomes an issue. That if
For
you
sure.
really define that control system well, it's a bit like with a radio model where you can do your trimming on your transmitter, but it's not the same as going back to the servos and making your proper adjustments, getting your geometry right. You've got
Yes.
to do the right job to expect the right result. But I know
Yeah.
I had a plane, it's an old one from the 80s, and it was a terrible plane that used to fly along with down thrust on it, and
Mhm.
I didn't know at the time why it wouldn't fly so well, and I swapped motors on it, and over time I sort of trimmed it. You know, it was, all the thrust lines were all right, everything was right, and then I changed all my flap horns on it, and I got my geometry better, and now it's my best flying plane. And as my brother said, that's really bad. You've been building models for how many years, and your 1980s ugly Stunt is your best flying model. You've but it's just the trimming. I've got the trimming right on it. That's what it really came down to. After all those years of fiddling with this plane, I've got the trimming to the point where it flies nicely.
Yeah. That's
You guys
what.
generally use slop in your elevator horn?
Some planes likely, some planes don't. I never tried it yet. So on my plane, even though I have the options to do it.
I use it in all of them now. I use slop in the elevator horn in all of them, and they seem to fly pretty good.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that. Just give it a try on my plane too.
Okay, give it a try. See what you think.
I know you don't want the flat one, but yeah, I've used it before. I've tried it, but invariably all mine get slopped if I fly them long enough anyway. But it's that one on the elevator you don't want.
That's true. If you fly them long enough, they get sloppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. On my plane, it's super easy to make adjustments like that because all I have is just to take the wing off and reach inside and take the push rod and just rotate it a little bit, and it's going to make it longer or shorter. And what I found out is that very little goes a long way on my plane. I mean, it's very sensitive to those kind of changes.
Right.
It's so sensitive to the point that sometimes if I move say I want more elevator or whatever, and I slide it out a little bit, by putting in a new position, you almost give it just a tiny bit of extra up or down or something like that. So you unbalance the system again. But it's very easy now because after that I just gonna rotate it. I have a little bit more, a little bit less, whatever, boom, boom. I make my push rod longer or shorter, and then the flaps to elevator balance. So he's comes back and like I was when I was flying today. Yeah, the down it's a little bit faster than the up, so basically my flaps are too high. So I need to make the push rod a little bit longer. That's all there's to it. So as soon as I open it up a little bit, I'm gonna put the wing back on and just fly it, and it should be fine. Yeah, after that. But I also noticed today that I want a little bit faster response on the controls. So I'm gonna get. I want to add a little bit of elevator to it.
So do you find, is it because the turn isn't quite fast enough for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense then.
That's something that you can do at the handle as well. But I built a new handle that is not adjustable. The only thing is like the neutral point is adjustable on it. That's all.
Why would you want a non-adjustable handle?
Because I can do the changes inside the plane.
Okay.
So 6-1 have does the other. Now, if you have a plane that has you cannot reach inside, then you want to have some kind of adjustability.
Again, I get it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we spent a lot of hours the last few nights or a couple of nights on his bell crank configuration. So no adjustable handle needed on that plane.
Yeah. So other than the neutral point, that's the only thing that's adjustable on it. So, but today I was when I was flying and I was doing wing over, I was practicing wing over. I was just bringing the plane down, 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 and I was giving the down input to turn. It was like I was hitting it. The plane would turn so fast. It's almost like you blink and it's in this position and then it's there on the next instant, right?
But would it bounce out of the maneuver or would it hit flat every time?
No, it just clean. Bam. It just goes down, curves clean and goes. On the inside maneuvers, I have to give it a little bit more up and I could see them. They were a lot softer. So I need more throw and a little bit because I don't have enough up, and you need to lengthen up the flaps, push rod, bring them down just a touch. But I'm talking about like to me, it's like going from with the just rotating maybe 50, 90 degrees or less than that on the push
Yeah, like
rod.
a half turn at most. Yeah.
Yeah, if that. Yeah.
You have all changes have to be small. You can't make big
Mhm.
change.
Yeah.
And one at a time.
But if I have that, I'm gonna be super happy with it. I mean, the the way the thing turns. I mean, it's just. I should put some on a video, and actually I had a video that I put over there. Not sure if you guys watched it. I was just practicing after a contest in Huntersville. But if you look at the plane, it's in Stunt News, anyways, in my on the last page of my stuff, right? So uh, if you watch the plane when I'm flying the triangles and the squares and stuff like that, I mean, just it turns and it just goes. You know, it's not like that turn, kind of have a flat and then turn again. It looks more like a horizontal eight, not the horizontal square eight kind of thing, right?
So it's
It
very
just
clean on the turns.
yeah, it turns sharp and then it just go and turn again. It's just like it turning so fast. Like I said, like when I was doing it today in a reverse wing over, I couldn't keep up with the plane. I was just seeing it here, and then I was seeing it over there, level and clean, just carving out, inverted. I mean, just
Or
like almost, it's
as long as
almost instinct.
as long as it's not bouncing out of the maneuver at the bottom and doing a jump, you're
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much okay with it. It's almost just, but this is the beauty of the system, you know. It's just like it's easy to adjust, you know. I think if you have a take apart plane, I was thinking about just maybe make some of these systems and maybe sell them or something like that for people that want to make a take apart plane.
I'm hoping to make all mine take apart from now on, just
Mhm.
because it makes it so much easier. It's
Yeah.
easier to paint, it's easier to build, it's easier to finish.
Yeah.
It's
My
so much easier to sand a part as
uh-huh.
opposed to an airplane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we get a lot more hangerish when they were in one piece, and it's so hard to transport. I think.
Oh, it's such a
But,
pain in the butt.
Yeah.
yeah,
And not only that, that opens the door that it gives you the access to the control system.
Exactly.
And
Oh yeah, that's a big point.
yeah.
But what makes them easier to build? It seems like it would be the opposite, or I imagined it was the opposite. I figured it was harder to build to take apart.
Actually,
No, it's easier
no.
to build. Once you learn, it's no different than learning how to put a control system in. You're just learning how to build the mechanics so that they go together. It's the joinery that's the issue.
Uh-huh.
But once you learn how to join the wing to the fuse and where to put the bolts and how to put it together, it's no different than putting any other airplane together. And once you've got it lined up, it's always going to line up because you make jigs when you put it together.
So, for example, Rusty, say you want to make a take apart wings, and say you have a two-piece wing take apart. When you build the wing, do you build it on the rods? Yes, right? So you already have the spacing between your rods and the place where you put your rods, right? So you can use the same spacing, the same hole alignment to put two holes on the side of the fuselage. So now when you put your wing on, it attaches to that and you have a perfect alignment to the wing. To you know, you automatically have that, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you have two dowel pins over there, and you put two dowel pins in the fuselage, two dowel pins in the wing. So now when you put the wing inside the fuselage, it's not going to rotate. It's going to register in the same spot every time.
Yeah.
All right. All you have to do now to just secure the top and the lower spar, right? Now this is what I was thinking about to making some of my systems, right? To for people that want them, and I could just make some some rods that are custom overall length, right? Whatever the customer wants, right? And so from that point, you just put the attachment points inside. You put the stuff in the wing. So now you assemble your wing on the dowel pins. You lock it in with a mechanism, right? And now you go inside the fuselage and you put a little bit of glue and tack it in place. Those spacer spars, right?
Hmm.
Okay. and you let it dry up, 5 minute epoxy, whatever. You just remove the wings after that, and you put a finished glue joint around it.
I'll
It's
get
just
that going.
Slide it in every time.
It would take a couple of practice runs to really get the hang
Most
of it.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
But those
Okay.
CBs, probably a piece of 164 plywood on the outside skin, right? To glue that aluminum cup that I have that goes in position, right?
Mhm.
And you just give it some holes in there, or maybe even when you make the wing or the fuselage, you can pre-drill all of those holes, right? Make a template, use the two dowel pin positions for the template to drill your holes. Go on the other side of the fuselage, use the same two dowel pin with your
Yeah.
template, drill your holes. So now they're perfectly aligned all around, right?
Yeah.
All you
That's
have,
amazing. Okay.
yeah, all you have to do is just hack it up a little bit around the wing. And to give you an example, if you look at the pin, the locking mechanism and the housing for the locking mechanism on my stuff, it was roughly 3 grams.
Mhm.
So
Good.
so you have about 4 of them, right? Plus a spar in between. You don't add more than an ounce, if that, weight-wise to your system. Not only that, these spars that go across and hold your wing in position, they can also hold your bell crank in place.
Yeah.
So
I'm used to doing the two-part system where it was just a plate underneath the wing, and it keyed into the bottom of the fuselage. So where people would cut the fuselage apart in the past, it would have engine bearings stuck in it though, and apply plates that would screw up to the engine bearing that would put in the fuselage. Where you cut apart your fuselage normally when you're mounting the fuselage, but that's
that's
normally a couple.
crazy. That is
It's a couple.
crazy. I mean, that's so hard to take it in and
Yeah.
out, and then you have to deal with a push rod. When you take the wing off, then you have to remove the push rod from the wing and all that crap. It's just this bullshit. What I have in my system, the whole system stays in the fuselage permanently.
Yeah.
So when I attach my wings in, well, I have some blocks, um, blocks inside there that are hard points actually, and they go like this, and the push rod just goes in between them and stays in position. That's all there's to it. For me to take apart my plane and put it back together, I can do it probably in 10 minutes and just disassemble the whole plane, put it back together in under 10 minutes. And I don't remove push rods. I don't remove anything other than the two lead out cables. They go over there, and you saw
How
it.
do the lead outs mount?
Huh?
How do you mount the lead outs to the bell crank? They got to go through the wing.
Yeah. So big deal.
No,
Let me show you.
asking you how you do it. That's all.
I'll show you.
Really watch and learn, because I know the system I use was one I adopted from Dave Wright back in the 70s, and it's a long, long ago way of doing it. But I suppose it probably adopted from what other RC modelers were doing. It was better than the dowel system that a lot of them used, where they just have dowels holding the front of the wing, and
Right.
and a bolt on at the back, because it would.
Yeah.
You could move.
That's sort of a modified version of what I've been wanting to do, is just put screws in the front, screws in the back type of deal. But
Yeah.
I'll look at this. I want to see how it goes.
Yeah, you have to build this from square one, but it does mean if you're building a new model, adopt a new system that's more efficient. And
Most definitely. You want the most efficient system you can get in today's market. I mean, the way I've been wanting to do the system is use the windy system with the one-piece wing with the lead outs and the push rod already in it, and then just hook up the other push rod to the control horn, and then slip the wing up into the fuselage.
Yeah, that's what I've used, but I've noticed people have been changing to systems similar to try and where the wings come on and the fuselage and all the internal controls stay intact, which makes more sense. There's less chance of something going wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, let me give Tryon the stage here. Let's see. Present. Okay, you got it, Tryon.
All right. So So this is my bell crank. What I have right now in my plane. This is from the new plane, actually, right?
Right.
So what I have these clamps over here on the top, and see if you can probably hear that.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you demonstrated that.
Wow.
It flick into place. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Now I get
That
that
makes
comes.
total sense now.
So what I do basically, let's say these are the lead outs, right?
You
You
just hook
just
them
put them
over.
over. This clips over.
That is phenomenal. Okay.
Done deal.
Now I understand why you did that. Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
And when I want to take the wing apart, I just push it forward. This comes off, and that's it. Done
That's
deal.
outstanding.
Yeah. I just thought it was cool the other night. Now I understand exactly.
What would the weight of that bell crank be?
This one?
Yeah.
It's this. I'm not sure exactly.
Okay. I don't need an exact, but
I'll have to weight it. It's pretty heavy system. It's about 70 grams altogether,
okay.
but it's not just the bell crank.
No, of course. Okay.
Yeah, these are
That's a great idea for putting the lead outs on. That's outstanding.
yeah. So what I actually have, if you see this,
The cantilever.
this is the bearing position.
Yeah.
And I can just loosen up the screw here, and I can set up the bearing anywhere in here.
Wow.
So that's going to give me any kind of settings on the bearing. Now on this opposite side, these blocks can move anywhere in here. So again, this is the point where like I press fit the control
Super
system
high
in here, and this also can slide anywhere in here.
Hey Lynn, you hadn't been here since while he was showing us how he made that.
No.
Okay. You missed a couple of good ones.
So
That is unreal.
so what happens when your bell crank moves?
Yeah.
Right? You get a different response, right? Depending on where you want to set the bearing, right?
Okay.
And also on opposite side, this based on where you're gonna move this in and out, you're gonna have more whatever, you know.
Wow. Yeah. Depending on how much throw you want to have.
Exactly. And actually two of them. They
Yeah.
go like this.
Elevator
top of each other.
independently.
See that?
Flaps and elevator independently adjustable.
Oh
So-
my goodness.
So this goes to the elevator, this goes to the flaps, kind of like something like that, right?
I hate to say it, but what I'm doing is so primitive. I might as well go back to the Stone Age.
So yeah, actually this is like that. So
That is phenomenal.
so what you're looking at, that's why I have two pins in there. And it goes like this. And the bell crank is here.
Yeah. That's unreal. Wow.
So it's fully adjustable right now. The reason
Yeah,
for,
exactly. Totally. You can adjust in every direction.
yeah, I can adjust how much throw I have, how much expo I have, how it responds independently on the flaps and the elevator. I can adjust
Basically have it.
them independently.
Now I know why you don't have to adjust your handle.
Yeah. That's exactly why he doesn't have to. Yeah.
Adjust the handle because his airplane is totally adjustable.
It's that Romanian ingenuity.
Wow, that's amazing. Great shot.
So yeah, so it's been a lot of thought that went into this system, you know. And Rusty was asking me, why did I do that? You know, what was the reason behind it? How did I
It
come
was
up?
awesome.
No, actually, no.
Yeah.
It's
We've had a couple of good lectures on that, Leonard. You ought to look the reruns up and see if you can
I
find them.
will. Wow.
yeah. The main reason was that brand new plane. I have no clue how is it going to react in the air. I have no clue how well is it going to fly or not fly.
Most people don't go this far.
Yeah.
They just build it and hope for the best.
Yeah. And the cool part of this system, you know, it's easily I have access to it easily by just taking the nose off or the wings off, or everything is there, right? And I can do everything I told you just earlier, you know, just maybe twitch a little bit more flaps or flaps push rod, make it a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. It's the same
Yeah.
thing like lengthening or shortening your elevator to flat push rod. And,
So, yeah,
that's
I
gonna
can
kill.
see there's all sorts of ways to make a take apart easier to build in. You know,
Sure. I think
build
we should all go downstairs and throw out all the SIG bell cranks.
you got to learn to work some metal metal machinery too before you throw out
Oh,
everything.
for sure. And I don't. I mean, you got to understand, you're on a way different level than I am, Tryon. It's like I'm in a different world. I'm building very, very average airplanes and trying to go out and beat you with flying talent, and it's not working.
Well, your average plane is pretty good, by the way. I
Yeah.
never saw a video with it
But
flying
what
up.
you're doing is on a very high level. It's very good. Good job.
Oh, thanks, appreciate it. Yeah,
You're very welcome.
yeah. So, like I was saying, like I wasn't sure what kind of a response I need from my fluff, from the elevator,
Oh, of course.
any of that. I had no idea because the airfoil is different. The numbers are vastly different from what you're used to.
Right.
Um, for simplicity, we went to equal panels, so we had no idea, how much
So,
how much elevator throw we're gonna have. Where is the
and if
CG?
it's all sealed in, you can't change it. So you don't
Yeah,
want to do that. And that makes sense.
yeah. So I
I
said, if I
hate
don't know
cutting
what I
off.
want to have, even though it's heavier, what I can do is just make something that's universal, set it up until I find something I really, really like, and then after that, I can make like a custom piece that's gonna be basically I'm gonna replace this guy with a custom piece that weighs nothing, right?
Yeah, very light. Exactly.
Exactly. So this is going to be gone, and
Yeah,
both
so
of them
you're
are
basically using this as a test dummy.
exactly. So because I
Yeah.
don't know what's going to be or
No,
what I like or
exactly.
what I don't like, and I said, hey, this works good, and it turned out to be a super nice system for me, after all. And it's
Yeah,
just
exactly. No,
I
that's
might
awesome.
I might keep it because I'm not hurting for weight on this plane at all. I just like
How much is this plane weighing in at?
59 or so now.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
I added tip weight. It's 710 square inches and 59 ounces.
You're good to
Uh,
go.
yeah, and this is my heavy plane because the next one is going to be in a
Yeah,
53,
exactly.
54s, if that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so 54-ounce plane, 710 square inches. Holy smokes.
Yeah,
That will be
that's enough
something.
to make you smile.
Oh my God. You know, and in the air, it is effortless. It flies effortless.
Well,
I
for
don't
sure.
I
Part of it is the
don't go
bowl.
hard on it or something like that. None of that. Just the finesse in which it flies is just unbelievable.
Like I assume the ball bearing bell crank helps huge.
Yeah. But what I did on the last setup, I took the ball bearing. So uh, just to show you. Okay. So so this moves like that, right?
Right?
I took the ball bearing and I move it here. I have I think I had it's at an inch and a quarter right now, distance from here to there.
So
Which
that's from the pivot on the bell crank to the push rod.
which puts it here somewhere on a push rod.
Okay.
So
Wow.
so the bell crank around the neutral position is very soft,
Yeah.
but once you go like this, it throws it.
Makes sense.
So it has a lot of finesse around the center, very docile, very calm and stuff like that. But once you
But
move the
once
hand,
you go, it really goes.
oh
Yeah.
my God, yeah. Like I tell you, it's like I was doing wing overs. I was looking at the spot where I want to hit it, and I was just like,
Bang.
and it was there. It's so fast.
That's
It's so
awesome.
fast. I cannot keep up with it.
Oh,
And this is no lie. This is no lie. I cannot keep up with it. Maybe I'm almost doing instinctively. When I fly it.
I'd
Boom.
love to see your corners just to see if they probably look like rule book corners.
No, not really. No, they cannot be rule book. But they're tight. Uh, Go on a Stunthangar on my on my Revolutions thread, which is in getting them amped up.
Okay.
And look on the last page, and there are 2 flights over there.
Oh, okay. I'll check them out.
Yeah, one of them is done by my friend Mark McKinney. That is his 4th flight or 5th flight on the plane.
Okay.
So he never flew the plane before that. Maybe that's his 5th flight. And
Okay.
if you just watch him flying it, how comfortable he is with the plane, and it's like he puts it wherever he wants to put it, right? That's gonna be like a telltale sign. I mean, it's like if you have 5 flights on a plane and you do that with a plane, that means it's easy to fly. That's all there's to it, right?
There's a big difference between a plane that you're constantly fighting to try and fly it well and a
Mhm.
plane that just flies well.
Yes, huge.
This is the life I'm living. I fly airplanes that I have to fight to fly well.
Yeah,
It's not fun.
yeah.
You know,
So
it's fun to fly planes that you have to fight to fly well. The idea is to get a plane that flies well.
yes, and once you do that, as soon as you do that, your flying levels are gonna just jump, 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 because your focus is it's unique right now. Instead of fighting the plane, your focus is where do I want to put it?
I've
What
said
do I
this
want
before.
to do with it?
I've said this before, and I've said it on here. I have one airplane out of my entire. I probably have 60 airplanes in my basement. I have one that flies fairly well. Everything else, I fight to fly it well.
Could be just a setting, you know. It's like uh, sometimes, you know. Yeah, you know, just what you told me, like doing stuff from the handle, which shouldn't be done in the handle at all, right?
You need to be doing it from the handle, apparently, and that makes sense now.
Yeah, it's in the way the flaps in the elevator are aligned. It's always there, or it's in a bell crank. Maybe the bell crank is biased too much, right?
And I do the same thing with my handle that you say you do with yours.
Yeah,
It does.
we're having to do that though is because of our airplanes aren't straight enough.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Airplane, you know, it's going to be basically like Igor Burgers. It's going to be right, and it's going to work right because he has the tools and the ability to build it right.
Hang on, Pat's got something he's holding up. What you got there, Pat?
Back in my day, bell cranks were only 50 cents.
Probably what they're worth.
Maybe you can trade one of those for one of Trey's.
Yeah. Go back in time. I'm the selector too. It's probably what we used for that tomahawk I got, the little tomahawk.
That red box sitting there in front of you was.
Got it at the hobby shop for $10.95, and it says 1971 on there.
Be right back. I'll show you what I use for bell cranks.
Yeah, we got it.
Proof I come from 1971.
How's your car coming along there?
Pretty good. It's about finished.
Have you got the engine in it now? You didn't before, did you?
That's a different car. I finished.
Oh yeah, I see it is. Doesn't have headlights on the front of the top of the hood.
Got a Teflon super shoe to this Monaco thing. It was $298 for this Teflon shoe here. I guess it comes with the green one.
What is that? A slip-on, kind of like a sock?
It's a little more pointed. No, it's metal. It's Teflon.
No, but the green thing.
That's what you get with it when you buy it. And it's not very pointed. So with the pointed one, you can get into the corners better with your monocoat, you know?
Yeah.
It says guaranteed.
So that green part slips over the.
It's one or the other. You have to buy this.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's a nice.
So it's not squishy. The green thing's not squishy.
No, just slip it for the monocoat.
Yeah.
It's guaranteed 6
I
months.
don't have one of those little detail irons that you can get down in nooks and crannies, but I do have a good point on the front of mine.
Guaranteed 6 months. It lasted 50 years. It's still working.
I don't know what the temperatures on mine are. It's just got a 1 through 10 scale. I pretty much turned it almost all the way up for Monica.
was 300 to 550.
So, Leonard, one thing that I've learned is that most planes can fly well, can be made to fly well.
Most
But I think the key to that is that to have access to the control system and be able to
adjust.
adjust. Now I just realized that now, right? Recently, after I started to fly and have this system now.
That's
right?
right.
So I think if you have a way to reach your push rod from your bell crank to the flaps and be able to adjust that, and ability to get from the push rod from the flaps to the elevator, be able to adjust that, it's
Well,
a huge plus. If you have that, you can make any plane turn equally, be nice and nice balance on the handle and stuff like that, and you're good to go.
The more adjustments with the least amount of weight that won't fail is what you're looking for.
Yes, true. But sometimes you add the weight to get the adjustment, and that adjustment will make the plane fly far better than just fighting it.
And worrying about the weight, yes.
Yeah.
You have to decide whether it's worth putting the weight.
I mean, what are the priorities here? Priority number one, have a plane that flies well, turns
That's
equally,
priority number one.
right?
I don't care if it weighs 90 ounces if I can beat you with it.
Yeah,
See what
sure.
I mean?
Yeah. But not, I'm not talking something that
No,
extreme,
not
right?
extreme, but I understand.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give up an ounce or two if it's going to perform way better.
Yeah, and there are people that had heavier planes in the past, and they just still did very well. I think Ted Tancher was talking something about his 70-ounce Trivial Pursuit and stuff like that. That was only 660 square inches or something like that. So that's a relatively small plane with lots of weight on it, right? But he could fly it, and he set it up, and he was flying very well and doing very well for him, right? But the idea is that I'm not talking excessive weight, right?
No,
It's
no,
just normal. I mean, keep it under 70. Cardinal like you have under 70 is just perfect, right? So if you have to gain another, say, ounce and a half on a plane, it's not going to hurt you that much, But now if you have the everything that's adjustable inside, then now you can dial into perfection that turn inside, outside, and stuff like that. Now, if you want more corner and stuff like that, my theory is a heavy plane will have to go with an aft CG setup.
Oh, for sure.
So what happens there? You have the aft CG is going to give you a lot easier pitch control, right?
Yeah.
It's going to make the plane more dirty, but because of its weight, it's not going to be dirty to begin with, right? But by going aft with the CG, you make the plane turn faster. I was in Chicago. My father was not feeling good. Long story short, I ended up in Chicago on this flying club, and usually I just pull over there and just I say hi to the guys, and just to say, hey, what's up, whatever. And many times they would come to me, hey, did you bring anything to fly? I said, no. I said, you want to fly? I said, well, sure. So they would give me their planes, and they just sit back and relax and watch me flying their planes. And in 1 year, somebody was testing his plane that he was going to go with it at the Nats, right? And he gave it to me to fly it, and I was like, I almost crashed it, because it would not turn. I mean, it was
way off.
It was a dog, right? A 70-ounce plane, right? And I said, you know what? Let's try something here, right? So we started to add those squares from Brodeck with tape. We just taped them to the tail.
Square, those sticky weights, yeah.
Yeah. So we put a couple of those on the tail, and we moved the CG back.
Yeah.
And progressively, as we moved the CG back, the plane started to turn better. We got to a point where he had to get his handle spacing and close it in, right?
Bring it in, exactly, because it was getting too sensitive.
Exactly. But guess what happened? If you bring your handle in with the same input, what do? Have much less flaps, the elevator deflection.
An elevator, exactly.
You maintain energy out of the corner.
That's right.
You maintain energy
Gain
because you
for a
don't
while,
put
and then
drag.
you start to lose. Yes.
And
Weather alert.
and by the
Just in
time
case I blip off for no reason, it's because I got a big red thunderstorm really bearing down on me. So
Okay.
just a heads up. So
okay. So long story short, there was another guy flying a brick house plane. Was
Legacy.
a Legacy? Yes, it was a Legacy with twin pipe, lightweight plane, stuff like that. By the time we were done setting up that plane with the tail heavy setup and stuff like that, it was cornering better than the other one.
That's wild.
It was out cornering the other plane. So there are ways around, to get the plane to trim stuff like that. But all planes are unique,
It
and
just
because they are unique, in order to dial them in.
yeah, we're going around the same thing in that trim is everything.
Yes,
Trim
can
is
make-
everything. You have to have the airplane in trim, or it just is
Yes.
never going to fly to its potential.
The key point is you have to have your plane able to get in trim,
That's true.
right?
True. Good point.
Because you can get all the other 50 planes that you have in your basement right now, right? If
Yeah.
you are able to adjust and fine tune them, stuff like that, they're going to probably fly pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's true.
Each
Good
one
point.
of them, yeah. And if you have a plane that's heavy, move the CG back. If you're playing this light, move the CG forward, right? They
For
kind
sure.
of go hand in hand. On mine, it doesn't.
So in other words, if it's heavy and it's nose heavy, it'll never turn.
Forget it.
Just keep adding tail weight till it turns the way you want it to.
You are fighting it.
Exactly.
You are putting up a fight, and I may be wrong or whatever, but I think a heavy plane add tail weights to it until it starts to hunt, right?
Yeah.
And then take some out. And where are you at? You're at the plane. You're at right on the edge where the plane tracks, and you have maximum response.
That's what I try with my 90 ship. I have a 90 ship with a Rojet 90.
Mhm.
It weighs 88 ounces.
Holy shit!
Beautiful. It's a beautiful looking airplane, but it's way too heavy. It's 20 ounces too heavy.
Yeah. Well,
It's 20 ounces too heavy.
when you get to that point, there's not much you can do about it. I mean,
No.
it's just simply too heavy.
It's a big dog.
But if it's a normal weight, I think something anything below 70, 72,
Even 75, you can do
even
something.
75,
Over
you
that,
can get around it, right?
it's out of
But forget it. If you go over 75, just I don't think so. Yeah.
I mean, I'm flying on maximum lines. I'm flying 68.5-foot lines and 18 thou. I could probably should be flying it on 21 thou.
Mhm.
Just out of hand.
Yeah. So this something just like that comes to a point where it's like no
Yeah,
longer
you figure
enjoyable.
I'm swinging a 15 or 16-inch prop with this airplane.
Oh,
It's a big beast, but it's never going to be a competitive airplane. I've tried it a couple of times in competition, and it's not going to do it.
what about you could practice a lot on your new SV11. I know you have one, right?
It's good, and it's 63 ounces, and it's perfect. It flies good.
That thing is gonna fly well. Yes.
It flies really well with a Rojet 67. Very well.
Yeah.
Is
But
it an ARF or one you built?
ARF, I think.
Is it an ARF or one you built?
It's an ARF.
Oh,
That one's an ARF.
Those are perfect to practice on, to learn, and
Practice ship for sure.
what's
For
the difference in engine size between an SV11 and an SV22?
not much.
The wing's a little different, isn't it?
Wingtips. No, the wing is the same. Wingtips, rudder, canopy.
What I was asking is, what's the engine power plant difference? Use the same power plant in both of those?
Yeah.
Yes. All the SVs. Let's put it this way. All the SVs are virtually identical. The only thing different between them is maybe some of them the elevator is just a touch further back. Maybe some of them may have a touch more wingspan, but they have the same airfoil. The same ribs are from kit to kit. The same I think what Randy does, like, cuts one set of ribs and it doesn't care. Like, it puts them in this kit and that kit
Yeah.
and so on and so forth, right?
So it's cosmetic changes basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
I see.
A wingtip, a shape on the flaps. Maybe the Tempest had like an attempt to do a little bit of an elliptical design to it, but that's just the flaps shape
Yeah,
and a little bit on the wingtip.
Samantha.
Thing as a kit for those planes?
Know what?
Is there such thing as a kit for those planes, or are they all ours?
A couple of them are Randy
Are-
gets kits. I gave Charles I sent him a Tempest kit here a couple months ago that Randy has made. Sid cuts all of his ribs, cuts all of his laser part stuff, and then he puts in the other wood and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And he said that Sid cuts all his kits for him.
Yeah. So yeah, but they're virtually identical. I think even the fuselage sides are the same from kit to kit.
If
It's
you
just the
take
turtle deck and the nose differs a little bit, or maybe a little bit underneath. But the
Yeah.
sides of the fuselage, I think even those are identical.
on the Tempest, because Samantha has the Vector 40, the Tempest 40. It's the same exact wing, but you get to the last rib, and the last rib is kicked in back, and then it has more of an elliptical wingtip.
Hmm.
But it's just that last rib is the only difference, and the same thing with the full size Tempest. Tail is different. She likes the tail better on it. She likes the wingtips, so we built the Tempest.
Yeah, it's a cosmetic thing mostly.
But basically, you can lay the wing right on top of the Vector one, and it's just the last rib is different.
Yep.
Different tips, and it works out to the exact same square inches. And
If, even you said, Steve, is like the Vector is still like an SV, only they took some of the root ribs out and make the wing a little bit shorter.
Yeah. I think I upset Pat a minute ago. I was presenting him to everyone so we could watch him build, and you saw me doing it.
I thought I did something wrong. I'm starting to make sure I was.
Yeah, I know. I saw you messing with your mouse, so I turned you back off.
You can watch if you want. Don't matter.
It was the most interesting thing on video at the time. Is that a little jig of some sort? That round thing you've got to your left?
No, it's just a turntable that they make
Oh,
for painting, and
okay.
Maya makes it, but these clips hook in the ends.
Oh, cool.
All kinds of things with it. Stick your toothpicks in the holes when you're waiting for paint to dry, and
Yeah,
got a bunch of holes in it.
that's cool.
They make paint racks too there that got a bunch of these stacked around it, or
Yeah, lazy Susan.
same type of space saver. Oh, I need a little desk. So if I start doing airplane, I'm gonna have to get a bigger space here, I think. Even for
Yeah, I think so. Airplanes take a whole lot of space. It's amazing. I've seen some people building on tables that look like yours, though, with junk all over them, and they still real nice models. So I don't know how they do it, but I gotta have a big clean space to work on.
the way I did it with my dad, we had I still have one of the boards I used right here, but those acoustic ceiling tiles were good because the pins go in easy, and
Yeah, a lot of us use those. We use them on top of glass, though, because the glass is the only way to build a flat wing, flat fuselage.
perfectly flat. Yeah.
I think I've learned a new theory tonight. Build less airplanes, but build more good airplanes.
Yeah, that's probably a good policy.
One thing that we're talking about the SV airplanes. If you've got an SV kit, like I've got an SV 40 that I wanted to do after my Thunderbird, and possibly a Ringmaster, but how would you convert something like that to a multi-piece model as light as possible? It's probably a question for trying. I don't know if Steve's tried doing that, but to take a Randy Smith kit and convert it into a two-piece.
Long story short, if you try to do that, it's best to build it yourself.
Build your whole airplane, yeah.
Yes. You can definitely get a Randy Smith kit or whatever, and do it into a take apart. But you know, it's like I like to use when okay, this is what I did when I did my first take apart. I said, how am I going to do this, and what kind of take apart system I'm going to use? So I kind of decided to have some screws that go like this from the ends, and I have like something like a round piece of aluminum, and just drill and tap it, right? So the screws kind of pull things, the wings together, one on top, one on bottom, and the wings kind of come together. So because I plan on that, you know, I said, how am I gonna do this? You know, it's just like kind of normal question, right? So what I did, I said, well, when I made my templates, I made the templates on one side, finished them, flip them over, and refinish the templates to make sure they're perfectly symmetric, right? Then I drill the holes on one side, and then I flip them over again, and I use the existing hole to punch the hole through to the other template. So now the holes are symmetric, right? So so basically what I use, and after that I use this, then I had the holes from the templates as well to put them on the rods when we build the wing on the rods, right? And I use the same holes on the center line of uh, side of the fuselage to drill those out, right? So I kind of use same reference over and over again to do everything. So basically, the fuselage, long story short, the fuselage had a few holes in it, right? That's where this round spars were going in place. Kind of simple, right? And it's easy to do because the fuselage is no longer cut out for stuff. It just has the three holes in it. That's all. So the wing, when the wing hugs against the fuselage, you know, it's just aligned by those three holes. So that was my first take apart system, and all I had to make some aluminum fingers with a hole inside of it, so uh, uh, so I could just glue that inside the root rib. But because the template already had a hole in it, and when I make the ribs over there, I already have the hole precisely aligned in a wing rib as well. So all I did, I just put the holes in the wing rib and put those inserts inside, and the screws would come from the top through a slide in, and you just tighten them down. It would pull the wing in. Basically, that's what I did with that. Worked fine.
All right. So that is the Tempest wingtip there.
Okay, gotcha.
That's the vector wingtip.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you probably put them on top of each other, they're the same thing. Other than that,
This is that is the vector. That's the Tempest rudder.
Very close.
This is a Tempest canopy. See how pointy that one is? And then this is the vector.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
almost the same airplane.
Those backward canopies.
Okay, basically that Tempest airplane there, we bought a Rodak vector kit and the Tempest plan. And everything from that kit made the Tempest airplane. We just had a different, we just, looked at the plans, made the rudder canopy, we made it more pointed instead of rounded off. The wingtips, like I said, lays in, and then you build the other part out, hollow it out. But yeah, both of these airplanes, one's a vector, and the other is a vector made to look like a Tempest. So it's just built on top of Tempest plans instead of vector. But Samantha likes the rudder so much better on a Tempest. And the wing tips and stuff.
yeah.
Hey guys, I'm hanging by a thread here. I'm gonna have to shut down for tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, Rusty. Good to
Hate,
see you.
hate to cut a good crowd off early like that, but
That's 2 nights in a row now.
what'd you say?
Look at the guy.
Friday night he was tired too.
Get healthy, Rusty.
I'm having a pretty tough time lately. So
Hang in there.
yeah, I'm hanging, doing the best I can, but not going good right now. So
No, take a rest.
yeah.
Mhm.
Take care, Rusty.
Good
Okay,
night, Rusty.
Right.
you guys. We'll see
Okay, thank
you.
See you soon.
Good night.
All you YouTubers, got 10 of them out there. Thanks for your contributions and thanks for watching. And we'll see everybody on Friday. Good night.
Okay, good night.
Right, Rusty.
The other day.